Evan here. I recently sold my 300ZX that I owned for over 10 years. It was a very hard decision for me. I want to give you 5 reasons why I sold it. Just to give you some insight from an owner who, obviously, this was a childhood dream car, owned it, this was my second Z. So together I've had Z cars in my life for over 13 years. And essentially, let's go over those reasons, okay? So reason number 5 was the chassis. I drove this car at 3 track events. Granted, I'm not the most experienced driver. Very few people can get the most out of a 300ZX twin turbo, but that's because the chassis is outdated and you have too much power and not enough modern systems. And it's also a bit of a heavier car. I was definitely being the guy on high performance driving days going, yes, you can pass me. Yes, you can pass me. And so I saw 911s, M3s, M4s, Corvettes, Camaros, just always, I was always the slow guy on the track. So just not that enjoyable for track days in that regard. Now, number 4 was, for me, that owning it for a long time, I've seen a lot of cars come and go, and I just felt that even though it has a timeless design, it has aged. And in a good way, but as a 40-plus-year-old guy, I just couldn't see myself in this car any longer. I feel like it's a very youthful design, and I see any guy driving it who's in their 20s or 30s, it makes sense for, but as a guy into his 40s, I just didn't see myself fitting in it any longer. And I just had my eyes on so many other cars that I thought were more attractive, more modern. Reason number 3 was how impractical the car was. You couldn't drive it during the winter. It was only 2 seats. And having 2 kids, I just didn't get much use out of it. So essentially, I would get really about 3 to 6 really good drives a season out of it. I was putting less than 2,000 miles on it in a year. I just really wasn't getting the kind of use out of a car that, for what it was, you should. So I just felt like it deserved a better home. Reason number 2 is the age. You're dealing with an old car. So even though I had so many parts replaced on this car, over 80, and even though it was in pretty good shape, you never knew what could happen. And I felt like every time I drove it, I always had that in the back of my mind. I wanted something that I felt more worry-free driving hard. Not that and luckily it didn't break down on me, but that's not the point. The point is that it was always in my head. So to me, I wanted something that I didn't have to worry about if I took it out for a 3-hour drive up in the mountains. And also, it just had a lot of creaks and rattles, and that's just a function of age. The top reason for selling my 300ZX is its rarity turns out to be a positive and a negative. 300ZX twin turbos from the 90s are so rare, some people drool over it and say, oh my goodness, that car's so nice, blah, 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 I wish I had one. But generally speaking, very few people know what they are. Most people at car events don't care. You're driving a car that's worth in its $20,000 range. Meanwhile, everyone else is driving nice, modern sports cars that are more capable and in some regards may look better. So everyone's attention is to them. And I'm not saying that I bought a different car just for the attention. That's not me. But what I'm saying is that people appreciate other cars more, and it's because there's good reason to. They're more modern, they're better looking, they're faster, and they might have, they're more capable, and they might have more heritage. You factor all these things in, and you realize that while you own something special, you're in a select class of enthusiasts. And chances are, there's not many around you. I've made some good relationships, but I didn't have any Z friends that I drove on a regular basis. I live up in Westchester, New York. I know guys in New Jersey, I know guys in some of the boroughs, but I just don't have time to meet up with them. Where owning an M3 as an example, there's guys everywhere. So again, I hope that this helps you. If I shed light on something that deters you from buying one of these or collecting one of these, then please, definitely don't go in that direction. But on the other hand, if you love the car, it is one of your dream cars, and you're okay with the things I said, then by all means, buy one. They're great vehicles. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll catch you in the next one.